Welcome in, everybody, to a new episode of Player Spotlight. Today, joined by the Renegades mid laner, Venenu. And Ven, we've known each other for a long time. I don't think people realize how long you've been around the competitive scene. I'm going to go into your ALG Hunter days in a little bit, but we normally start where everyone starts. What was it like growing up for you? I know you're from the U.S., but like, what part of the country did you grow up in?
I grew up in Rhode Island, the Northeast, basically right next to New York. No one really knows what Rhode Island is, but it is the smallest state in the country. So, yeah, that is where I am from.
I've been to Rhode Island before. Is that where Bethany Beach? Is that Rhode Island?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, all right, off to a roaring start here. Huh? This is going to be a good episode, isn't it?
Quite possibly.
All right, so when did you get started gaming? Like, what were you playing growing up?
I started on a GameCube, I believe. Actually, well, technically the Game Boy Advance, the little like small big one with like that I played like Pokemon on with my friends and traded all that stuff. And then the first like console I had was GameCube, and just played a lot of Smash then and Mario Kart and stuff with a bunch of friends. And then, yeah, from there on.
We were talking about it recently. GameCube is like super underrated. Definitely one of the best consoles of all time.
Yeah, for sure. So many things that you could do, and then you get the extended port and have like 8 people playing at the same time. Yep, it's underrated.
Dude,
underrated for sure.
Those are the days, man. Those are the days. No doubt about it. So you're a console gamer. At what point did you start getting like? Talk to me about GameCube. What was your first PC game? Like that kind of stuff. How did you transition off of one of the best consoles ever?
I think I was pretty young. I think it was like 10 or something. Actually, maybe even younger. And I was just playing like random games like Terraria when it first came out, and Minecraft and stuff like that. Just a bunch of games that I could play with friends, because that's pretty much like where I went, was just like wherever like friends were playing or stuff like that. I would always try to have some fun and hang out with them. The first like competitive game I think I've ever played on PC was probably like CSGO, where like it was actually a competitive game, and there's like a lot of like time dump in there and stuff like that. So that's a really fun time.
So how did you hear about SMITE? Like, how'd you get started in SMITE?
I actually played League first, and my first name on SMITE was Crazy Toaster, and our clan,
legendary.
Yeah, our clan in like League, what we played, it was like Crazy something, and my friend that was called Crazy Pancake ended up playing SMITE once. And then we ended up playing like a lot of SMITE, and I just got like addicted to it back in 2012, like really, really early. And it was just a lot of fun. It's just more to it, I thought, more competitive that way.
So where's Crazy Pancake at now, man? Why isn't he part of the Renegades team?
Yeah, I actually don't know what happened to him, to be honest. He's the long lost friend.
Who knows? Crazy Pancake out there. He's probably like a lawyer or something now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But hey, not an SPL player, not a world champion like you. So take that, Crazy Pancake. So you start off in SMITE. You know, you're loving that. What are some of the first few gods that you really got like addicted to? What was your initial role that you loved?
I actually played Joust a lot of the time. Joust 3v3. And then I slowly started, once I like knew that there was a competitive scene, when there's like weekly tournaments and you would get like an X amount of money for like every weekly tournament. Like that's when I started watching. I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to grind this. And the first like characters that I really was like hard grinding and Conquest was probably like Janice, Tyr, and I think Loki at the very beginning. Just gods that were like very mobile, and like also when like crit tier was a thing when he first came out. That was a good time. You crit like 900 on your big auto and just one shot people. It's just fun time.
Dude, Tier is OP, man. I don't know why people still aren't playing him, because he's got his knockup back. I don't know. I don't want to. We can't even get into that. We got to keep going. So you're playing a lot of mobile characters. Do you remember who was on like your first team that you started playing with? Like, what was your first? How did you get started in competitive in SMITE? Did you just get noticed playing ranked, or how did that go?
It was actually, funny enough, it was the team was called Scapegoat, and it was with Panda Cat and Scream, and I think Neil Ma as well. Yeah, I think Neil Ma was on it too. All of us were on the same team. It was pretty
destined
funny.
For greatness.
Yeah, and then we ended up winning worlds with that. with
Yeah,
Peacock and Scream. Yeah.
not too bad. So,
Uh,
how did they pick you up? Do you remember how that whole like situation went down?
we were friends from pretty much the beginning. We played in like siege tournaments from the very beginning. We just ended up making a team and competed in. I think it was Challenger Cup back in the day, and then
Hmm.
yeah, it was just like we just like stayed friends since then. To be honest, we've been friends for probably like 7 years now, maybe 8. But yeah, we were just friends for a long time, and I love those guys for sure. Good people.
So your first foray into the SPL, you were a hunter player for Allegiance back in
Yeah,
the day. So that was
yeah.
season 3, if my memory serves me properly. Um, how did you go? Were you playing hunter at that time? Did you role swap for that opportunity, and how did that opportunity kind of come to you?
I actually role swapped from mid to that role.
Mm,
And I was only playing the role for like 2 months, and then Incon like noticed me that I was like beating all like the default like ranked hunter players and stuff like that, and I was like holding my own. And then he was
hmm.
like, "Oh well, you're pretty good. Like, would you want to scrim, like try out and scrim?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, I always wanted to be competitive in a game. Like, that's a dream for sure." And
Sure.
yeah, that's pretty much how it went. It was quite interesting on like a 2 month role swap that I got noticed that quick, but yeah.
Who was that team? It was Incon, Weekend, Cope, Oceans, I want to say, or who was the? No, was it?
Uh,
No,
it was
Stealth wasn't the
stealth.
mid laner then, right? Was
I
it?
think I think it was stealth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
All
stealth. It
right.
was stealth. Yeah.
That must have been pretty crazy. I mean, Incon, Weekend, Stealth in particular, huge names in the scene
Yeah.
by that point. Was that how weird was that for you to come into a team with that much name power?
Definitely a like big thing for me. Like I always looked up to stealth from like a player perspective. Like he won season 1 worlds and it was popping off and everything like that. So definitely like looking at that, like I was like, oh, this is like I gotta like step up my game and like learn as quickly as possible and adjust and do whatever the team needs type of thing. So yeah, pretty much the same stuff that I did then kind of carries over to right now, which is pretty funny. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was just like a big step for me, and I was like, okay, so I just have to like step it up and like prove that I can be a good player and everything like that.
Yeah, that must have been the first time, you've been playing in weeklies and that kind of stuff, but to make it to the SPL, you came to a LAN then. That was the group stage LAN.
Yeah.
That's where we first met. How did your parents feel about you like traveling and trying to take this a little bit more seriously? Were they supportive?
They weren't at first. They didn't really know about the whole like esports thing or like if money involved or if it was like sketchy or anything like that. And so basically what I had to do is I had to show like videos from like season 1 worlds, season 2 worlds of like all these lands and a bunch of people and everything. So it's not like a scam or anything. And
Hmm.
then, they still weren't very supportive of it. Like they would just wanted me to like go to school and everything and, like get a like quote unquote real job type of thing. And then I was just like really, really like committed to like being a pro and like proving that it was a good job and that type of thing.
How has that changed to now? I mean, now you're living here in Atlanta full
Yeah.
time. It seems there's been a lot more around it. Has their opinion changed about it?
Oh yeah, for sure. When I ended up winning, actually, I didn't even need to win worlds. When I was joined United in season 4, they and like we were first place. I don't even think we lost a game. That actually maybe we lost
Hmm.
like 2 games that or fall split, but it's yeah, they were like, okay, so this is like actually something important and like big, and like this could be like the new generation of like jobs and stuff like that. So it's definitely a big step for them as well as me. So
Yeah, absolutely. So before you get on that United team, you make that incredible run with Oxygen Supremacy. That was one of the runs that people still talk about today. A minor league team. You guys nearly made it all the way through the gauntlet, which was unheard of.
yeah.
What was that experience like for you during that
Uh,
run?
that was such an amazing experience, especially all my teammates at the time. Kiki, Skilly, Neil, me, and Day to remember.
Hmm.
And it's such a good team. Like really, really fun guys. Always like very motivating and like always like hype and happy and just keeping things positive. And a very, very like flexible team. Like we were running like so many different things that people weren't even seeing before. And
Yep.
funny enough, going into that LAN, our scrim partners were enemy at the time, who I
Hmm.
think were second place going into that LAN, I believe. So they weren't even there. And um, yeah, we were like beating them every single time in scrims. Like we would make them like rage quit and everything like that. It was pretty interesting. So it was like new for me because usually like that didn't happen on like ALG. So that was like a
Sure.
big step, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is like a completely different team environment and everything like that. And yeah, that run was a really good run, but definitely the what was it, 7 hours? I think definitely
Yep.
definitely get some burnout of 7 hours straight of Smite.
Dude, I don't remember who it was. So the studio back then, we played in the studio, and it was this basically like giant black room that was just
Yeah,
really
yeah,
dark. And then you'd walk down the hall, and we had a little like cafeteria is being generous.
yeah,
It's like a little it's a room with some vending machines basically
yeah,
where you could go and get some food. And I
yeah.
walked in after your guys like one of your last wins, and I don't remember if it was you and Skeely, but it was you and someone else on your team. I think it might have been you and Neil, and I was like, "Boys, this is insane. How are you feeling?" And you just looked at me with these like dead eyes like, "We're doing it, man." And I was like, "Okay, dude, if you say so."
It
You
was
guys
so
just
close,
looked
dude.
exhausted.
Yeah, it was. I remember what it was like the downfall of it. Like we were like riding on like pure like hype train type of thing. Like we didn't lose a single game going all the way through, and it was Walrus's team is what I remember because Skeely
Yep.
blinked in as Susano and got Odin Cage and instant died, and he was like, oh, I messed up and didn't use my actives or something. I was like, oh no, and then it was just like pretty much a downfall from there. And like our like motivation was like, oh, we're dead. So
Walrus,
yeah.
bro, the gatekeeper.
Oh man, that
That's
was
the
an
way it goes
interesting one.
sometimes. But that was like, ALG, you came in, you were a rookie, you had just role swapped, as you mentioned. I feel like that Oxygen Supremacy run was a huge moment for you as a player to be like, I mean, Skeely, everyone on your team was popping off. You had to be in order to
Yeah.
make a run like that. But
Mhm.
you in particular were really, really popping off and felt like a real driving force behind that team. Do you agree that that was like a big moment for you in your career? I think that's when a lot of people started to realize that you had like a ton of potential to come back to the SPL and really be a focal point of a team.
Yeah. My big inspiration throughout like all of Smite, I would say, is actually Yaman. And I just like on that Oxygen Supremacy team, like before that LAN even happened, like I would like spectate his rank games and everything like that, just to like learn as much as possible from him and like how he wards and his movement and everything like that. And then like going on to like going into his like SPL games and like constantly watching them back and like looking at his like farm routes, his like ward spots, how he team fights and everything like that. Because I still think to this day like Yemen was definitely the best mid laner that SPL has ever had, and so I
Yep,
took a
the
lot of
goat.
motivation from him. And yeah, just that land, like I was like channeling my inner Yemen at that point. Like I was playing Chiron mid and everything like that, like what he was playing, and I was
Yep.
just like, let's go, dude, I got it. So yeah.
Hey, NAM is definitely a good spot to be in for sure. No doubt
Yeah.
about that. So you make that run, you come just short of winning it, but still incredible. How did you? What was it like when you got approached to join E United? Because Chaos leaves that team to join High Res. What was that conversation like? And talk to me about that opportunity.
So basically, I got like an offer from Mike pretty much. I was in talks with Chaos because Chaos and I were pretty good friends already before that,
Hmm.
leading up to that. And we were just like talking over like he wanted to like work for hires and everything like that. And he was like, there's a spot open, and like he was like, you would probably fit this team like perfectly. And he was like, I'm gonna vouch for you as much as I can and like constantly push your name towards you. And so basically it was me versus Best at the end that they were deciding between. And then I played like really, really well in my scrims that I ended up scrimming with them. And it was funny because I ended up playing Chronos mid with them when nobody else was like playing Chronos mid because they were just like pick your comfort pick or whatever. And
Hmm.
I remember like rotating, I rotated two solo lane and I missed literally everything. And then Benji was just like, I was like, oh no. And I was like so anxious from there on. But then like it just like, I guess they scrim more with Best, and like, I guess they just like trusted me more. Like Scream kind of was vouching for me, and also like Panda as well. And so
Hmm.
yeah, I ended up getting the spot, which is nice.
Man, Benji doesn't say anything normally, I feel like. So to even get the oh, it must have been pretty devastating.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, not like this.
Yeah. Hey, it ended up working out. You
Yeah.
guys have a great fall split, as you mentioned. How confident were you guys going into Worlds that year that you were going to be able to win?
Um, I actually had no doubt in my mind that we were going to lose that LAN. I think, like, I was roommated with Mike all the time, and
Hmm.
like Mike would try to like keep it, like he would always like to, because he had the LAN experience and stuff like that. So he would always try to be like, just be confident and stuff like that, and like, but also like keep it down. So like it's not like an ego type of thing where like you mess up one play and it's just like over for you type of thing.
Right.
And going into it, like I was really confident. I actually didn't think we were going to lose a single game, to be honest. I think the way we were playing the game at that point was kind of a step ahead of what everybody else was playing, and we actually thought our biggest opponents were going to be rival, and
Hmm.
the way that they were playing the game to us was pretty slow to where we could kind of like, at the time I think Wolfie was building Warlock Sash first, and then I was rushing like Boots, or I was rushing Doomorb, and it
Hmm.
like you could just snowball so hard through mid, and we like really did that really well. And also a big thing for us was that they kind of had a permaban Mori every game because Wolfie wasn't a Mori player,
Hmm.
and it kind of just let our drafts kind of snowball onto where we wanted and like completely control that type of thing.
Yeah, that run, um, it really every lane seemed so dominant. In particular, like Benji obviously has an insane event, plays super
Oh,
well
for
the
sure.
entire time.
Yeah.
Panda and Mike are probably the best duo lane of all time. They just like never seem to lose really. That must have been so much fun to play mid in a set where you know that your side lanes are going to dominate, and then you can prioritize picking
Yeah.
pressure picks and building pressure items, and you just kind of got to go and do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, for sure. When you have a front line like that's so like potent in a game, and like you're always scared of them, it's like a completely different game for a backliner. Like you literally can do whatever you want and you won't feel threatened at all. Like it's so different. And playing the way like I wanted to be playing on Mori and stuff like that, those games, it was
Mm-hmm.
just like I think I played it once and we played like a Bastet combo or something. And I was like, I saw somebody on their back camps, like their back left mids, and then we were doing Gold Fury. And then I went up to like go solo somebody, and then Benji was like, "Oh, be careful!" And I was like, "No, I'm fine here." And I transformed and like one shot him instantly, and then we ended up
Yep.
just getting gold for free and stuff. Like that type of confident plays, I think, also motivated everybody else, showing that I wasn't
Sure.
like nervous at all on world stage. And it is so much better playing in front of a crowd, like playing in front of a crowd, and like when you make a hype play, like that just carries over to your play, and it's just like so different. Like you can tell when a player is on fire. Like it is
Yep.
crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You guys, literally every single player on your team was
Yeah.
on fire. It felt like that whole time. Describe what winning worlds is like. I mean, that's what everyone wants to do. Everyone playing Smite is like, man, wouldn't that be sick if I could do that somehow? Even people that aren't playing pro, guys in silver are thinking about what it would be like to win worlds. Tell us what it was like from your perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fantastic. There's nothing else like it. Just like all, like, it's basically like showing all like the work that you paid off, all the grinding, every single like tiny thing that you did going into that year, and it all pays off because you ended up winning the that whole year. And I remember like I was super hyped when we ended the
Yep.
game. I ended up losing my voice because I was like yelling so loud, and
Yeah.
and then like I was like I just remember like picking up the hammer and then getting like the MVP trophy, and like I was just like shaking the whole entire time, even to like the interview afterwards. Like I was just shaking. I remember my hands was like just shaking. I was like, oh boy, like I can't believe I actually won this. And it's just, oh man, it was such an amazing time. It's
Hey,
definitely to me worth like every year coming back and like grinding. Like it is amazing. It's such a good time.
you have one of the best pop-off clips ever from winning worlds right there. So that's going to be used for the rest of Smite's history for sure. One of the best pop-offs, no doubt. I was going to ask about the MVP. Were you expecting it? Were you surprised? What was your reaction?
I think that I was actually you coming out to give me the trophy. I think you actually had it, or
Yeah, I
maybe it
think
was
you're right.
F Dot. Yeah, it was one of you, and then, and then I
Yeah.
thought it was gonna go to Benji, but then I think it would have went to Benji. I'm pretty sure if he didn't end up getting soloed in the last game, because
Yep.
I think he played really well as well. I think all of us could have got it
I
freely.
think
Like
literally
I think
any
it
of
was
you could have
so
gotten it. Yep.
hard. Yeah,
Yep.
and then you ended up, yeah, I think it was you, because then you ended up like looking at me in the eyes, and I was like, oh, I got it. And I was like, oh god, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to say something. I have no clue what to say. Oh man, it was. But yeah, it's definitely like, I still have it like right next to me, and
Yeah.
it's definitely amazing to have. It's part of history, so I always want to get back to it. That year I was playing, like, I think a big thing that, like, for me that year actually was like playing, like, I didn't care about the money or anything like that. I literally just wanted to play for the trophy, and
Hmm.
any type of trophy that I could get. Like, I think it's like so much better to carry a memory with you rather than just like cash. Like, to me,
Sure.
the memory and like that medal that you get on yourself, like, that is so much bigger than just money to me. Like,
Hey man,
definitely
now
definitely having the medal is better.
you get to troll rank game with the world champion tag on your screen. Like,
Yeah. Hey.
what's better than that? You're running it down on Kuzenbo Mint, and it says world champion Kuzenbo right there. So like,
Hey,
how
sometimes
can
that
anyone be
works.
talking to you? I gotta ask, because Scream is a he's a guy. He's got his own sort of unique personality. I've heard Scream was not stoked to not receive the MVP. Did you get a little talking to from Scream afterwards? Do you remember?
Uh, he's just like, yeah, I gave that trophy to you. You got it because of me. I should have got the trophy. He's just like memes it all the time. But like, in the end of the day, like, it really could have went to anybody. And I don't own like, oh, I got the MVP trophy because like I was the only one who popped up. Like, it was everybody on that team. Like,
Yep.
if we could do it again, like, it would go to anybody again for sure. Like, it was probably such a hard choosing and everything like that. Like, jeez. Yeah.
I will say, I think if we had to do it again and we had the tech on who secured Fire Giant, I think Mike probably
Oh,
wins it for
yeah,
stealing
yeah,
that FG
Sylvanas
game
route,
4.
man. Yeah,
Pat,
Sylvanas route.
best secure in the game, no doubt about
Oof.
it. Since then, Ben, I mean, you've been a mainstay in the SPL. You've been in it every single year, but I think that public perception of you doesn't consider you to be a star player. You're often talked about as the role player for a team. Does that tag bother you at all, or do you think it fits?
No, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm pretty sure I probably get, like, people always bring it up. Like, I get probably the most hate out of like any player in the SPL, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't have to, like, to me, in my opinion, you don't need any specific player that has like maximum mechanics to win any game. It's like a team game for a reason, and what happens behind the scenes, or like what happens on a team, like, you don't know what that player is like bringing to a team, or like how it makes you be able to play draft, or like anything like that, like the comms and everything like that. Like, there's so many things that go into it that people won't be seeing ever, and that's just kind of how it is. And to me, I kind of just like blow it off. Like, I play how I play and how the team wants me to play, and that's just how it will be.
What do you want to accomplish still in your career? Having already won a Worlds, having already won a Worlds MVP, are there specific goals that you're still setting for yourself, or is it just trying to win again and that's it?
Actually, this year specifically, bringing in a new player and having them as like the newbie on the team and everything. Like, I think getting a trophy like this, it brings back to like when I was like, I came into mid lane SPL in my opinion as like a newbie. Like, I'm the new person
Hmm.
on the streets of that. So, and then I ended up winning worlds, and that's like the best feeling ever, going from like somebody completely new right into like ending it with a worlds win. And I think if I could do that for Jake and Last, to be honest with you, since he's still moderately new as well, I just think that's like really motivating to me. Like, I want to win worlds with this team for sure, and like bring the like trophy home as well. Like, just like that type of thing. And getting everybody experience is a really important thing. And of course, like, my goal by the end of the year is always to win, but I want to
Hmm.
win with a group of 5 guys that love to play the game and have amazing passion for the game. And I think that's this team for sure.
Hey man, you guys have been trending up as of late, no doubt about it. Before we let you go, I do like to ask, not that it's coming anytime soon by any means, but when it's all said and done for playing in the SPL and playing Smite, do you know what you want to do moving forward? Is there anything that you got your eyes on that you want to do with the rest of your time?
Probably try to maybe. do some type of streaming or content creation, and possibly like work for like a gaming company or like an esports org. And since I've already like been a part of it, like an esports
Mhm.
org, and like as a player, like bringing in like a player perspective into like a manager type of thing, like you kind of know how it feels as that, so you can kind of like bounce it back and forth. Where
Yep.
because I like United Burns. He was a player before. He played COD beforehand,
Yep.
and he was like one of the best managers I've ever had. Like he is such an amazing guy, and that was definitely like a big like thing to see for me. Like having experience as a player and going into like a manager job is like really really good, because then you can kind of
Mhm.
like bounce off to the higher ups, like, oh, this is how it feels to be like a player, and then like this is kind of what they need, and like then the players kind of trust the manager more, and it creates like a good connection. And I think that's like a really important thing to have.
Plus, you get to tell them what it's like to win worlds, and that they got to
Yeah.
win one for you now. You know,
Yeah,
you get to
exactly.
hold it
Yeah.
over their heads
Hey.
the whole time. What could be better than that?
Yep.
Appreciate the time, bro.
Yeah.
You got any shout outs you want to give, and where can people find you on the internet?
Shout outs to Renegades. They're keeping us motivated and everything like that. And shout outs to my team, Variety, just coming in this week and ending up winning. Yeah, and shout outs to Bear's new cat. That cat is a look good looking cat. And you can
Good
follow me
looking
on
cat.
Twitter at twitter.com/Venenu_.
Twitch as well. Is that the same? Is it have
Oh
the
yeah,
underscore? Or is
Twitch.
it just
Yeah,
Venenu?
twitch.tv/Venenu_. Yeah.
Easy
Forgot
peasy.
about
Well,
that one.
appreciate. No worries. Gonna become a content creator, but forget the Twitch.
Yeah, forget it.
They would have found it
Yeah.
through Twitter, man. No, it's fine. They would have found it. No worries.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate to everyone for watching as well. Hope you guys enjoyed, the whole like, comment, subscribe thing on the SMITEPro YouTube, and comment who you want us to do next for one of these player spotlights, because we've been having a lot of fun doing them. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Ben for the time. We'll catch you next time for another player spotlight.